Quit crying. What's up, everyone? Checking this out. This is part 2 of the year in wrestling 1989. Talking about WWF and NWAWCW only. And I'm going to start it off talking about, I didn't mention in part 1, I didn't mention any Saturday night's main events except for the February 89 one. So I'm going to talk about, in 89, WWF had a lot of Saturday night main events. They had one in January, and then they had one in February 89, which was called the main event, and I was there at the main event. In February 89, I was very lucky to be there and go, and it was awesome. And I was like 5 years old. They had Saturday night's main event in March, and then another in May, and then they had one in July, and one in October, and then one in November. So they had a lot of Saturday night's main events, and I believe one called the main event, which was February of 89. So you had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Saturday night main events the WWF ran on NBC, WCW at the time, and their Clash of Champions on TBS. I believe they had probably 5, maybe 6. They had at least 5 Clash of Champions in 89, maybe 6. And just some of the matches that were on Saturday night's main event, big matches in 89. You had Hogan defending the WWF Championship after he won it from Randy Savage at WrestleMania 5. Hogan defending against the Big Boss Man in a steel cage. And that was on the May 89 main event. Also, you had the Brain Busters and Demolition go at it in May 89 on the main event. Brain Busters won by disqualification against the tag champs, Demolition. And now my freaking cats are fighting. I gotta break it up. I don't know if they're going to start fighting again. If they start fighting again, I'm going to have to lock them up in 2 different rooms. Now my cat is scratching on a scratching board. And that sound is annoying. Okay, so Brain Busters beat Demolition by DQ in May 89 on NBC, and Hogan and Bossman in May 89 on NBC have a great steel cage match. I think Bossman had a tiny little cut, a tiny bit of blood came down his forehead, I think. I'm not sure, but it was NBC, and there was basically no blood allowed at the time in WWF. So he didn't bleed much. But in 89, in New York, Madison Square Garden, on a house show, basically, but it was filmed for Madison Square Garden Network, I think. Anyways, WWF filmed it, put it on a Best of Hulkamania tape that I actually own on DVD. Best of Hulkamania, Bossman and Hogan have another cage match on Saturday nights, at a house show, MSG. Hogan and Bossman have another cage match before Saturday night's main event, I believe, in New York at the house show. Bossman bleeds a lot, much more than he did in the cage match on Saturday night's main event. Boss Man gets busted open in the cage and bleeds much more. So that was pretty cool to see. In their cage match at Madison Square Garden in '89, Hogan was WWF champ. Boss Man was challenger. That cage match from New York City, Madison Square Garden, is much better, I think, than their cage match on Saturday Night's Main Event in May. Now I gotta break up my cats again. I apologize. I had to lock up one of my cats, put him in the other room because he wouldn't stop climbing on my other cat and attacking him. Two male cats, basically, they're fighting, but they like each other, but they fight sometimes. Anyways, that's over. I apologize that I had to get up and leave, but I had to. Talked about cage match Hogan and Boss Man had at MSG was much better than the cage match on Saturday Night's Main Event. That was the main point I was trying to make. But the Saturday Night's Main Event cage match between Boss Man and Hogan was still good and still worth checking out on the network. And that's May '89. Saturday Night's Main Event. Okay, I'm going to talk about I'll talk about the July Saturday Night's Main Event later. I'll talk about Wrestle War '89 right now. WCW NWA Wrestle War '89. If I could find the freaking page. It's called Music City Showdown, but basically the pay-per-view is called Wrestle War, and it's from 1989, May 7th. First match at Great Muta, defeat Doug Gilbert. Doug Gilbert is the brother of Eddie Gilbert. He was basically a jobber. He was never a star. He was an okay wrestler, but no one really cared for him, and he never got over. Great Muta was fucking awesome. Great talent. Hell of a wrestler. Love the Great Muta. And I believe this freaking cat. Did it go up there? Go. More cats making noises. Can't do anything about it. I apologize, people. He wanted to get up on the table, look out the window. Anyways, back to Wrestle War '89. Great Muta defeated Doug Gilbert. The match went 3 minutes, and good crying. You ain't going out today. Basically, Great Muta defeating Doug Gilbert was to put the Great Muta over and show his talents, and well deserved. Good call to put Muta over. Butch Reed defeated Ranger Ross. Another boring match. Went 6 minutes 59 seconds. In a bull rope match, Dick Murdoch defeated Bob Orton in 4 minutes. Pointless match. really stupid. I don't know why Bob Orton was even in the NWA. He was only there for like 4 months. He was on one Clash of Champions, and then he was on Wrestle War 89. Why? I don't know. Bob Orton, great worker, great wrestler when he wrestled, but I don't know why he went to the NWA and why they put him on shows. Nobody wanted to see Bob Orton feud with Dick Murdoch. Nobody wanted to see that. It was boring matches. And it shows you how much NWA, WCW cared about their feud, letting it go only 4 minutes. It wasn't a feud they gave a damn about. Up next, the Dynamic Dudes, Shane Douglas and Johnny Ace, defeated the Samoan SWAT team in 11 minutes. Up next, Michael Hayes defeated U.S. champion Lex Luger to win the title in 16 minutes. So Michael Hayes becomes the new United States heavyweight champion. And then that was May 7th, 89. And I believe, very quick, Michael Hayes lost the U.S. title. He won it May 7th, 89. And then May 22nd, 89. Lex Luger defeated Michael Hayes back and got the U.S. title back a couple days later. Like 16 days later, Lex Luger wins the U.S. title back. So I don't know why they let Michael Hayes win the title. It was pretty pointless for him to just lose it. I don't know why Michael Hayes went over on a pay-per-view and won the title on a pay-per-view, and then 16 days later they just have him job and lose the title back to Lex. Damn pointless, stupid booking. Okay, after Michael Hayes wins the U.S. title, you had Sting, the television champion. And I guess this was for the TV title. Sting defeated the Iron Sheik in 2 minutes and 12 seconds. The match was pathetic, and it was barely a match. It was a real mess. I mean, Iron Sheik could not work. He shouldn't have been wrestling in the ring. He should have been nowhere near on pay-per-view in a match or a title match. Anyway, Sting went over in 2 minutes. That was the right decision. And Sting hit a really weak-looking clothesline. He was probably afraid he'd break the Iron Sheik's neck, because Iron Sheik looked really fragile. Like you freaking body slammed him, he probably would have broke his back. Anyway, Sting wins and retains the TV title in 2 minutes. I don't know why they booked Iron Sheik against Sting, but that was stupid. Up next, Ric Flair. And this was not the main event of the show. This wasn't the last match. I don't know why it wasn't. It should have been. Ric Flair defeated the NWA World Heavyweight Champion Ricky Steamboat, and it went 31 minutes. It was a great, great match. It was the third and final match that Steamboat and Flair had, and it was really good. So Flair lost the title in February with that pay-per-view. God damn it, I lost. Here's the page. February 20th, Flair lost the title. May 7th, he gets the title back from Steamboat. In Wrestle War, Steamboat and Flair had a great match. But my favorite is Clash of Champions 6. Their 2 out of 3 falls match went over 50 minutes. That's my favorite match of the 3 in 1989 that Flair and Steamboat had. So after the world title match, for some reason the show continued when it should have ended. because these next matches were not main events. Road Warriors defeated the World Tag Team Champions by disqualification in 6 minutes, and the tag champs were Steve Williams and Mike Rotundo. Anyways, Kevin Sullivan and Dan Spivey attacked the special referee in the match. That's why it was a disqualification finish. U.S. Tag Team Champions Eddie Gilbert and Rick Steiner defeated Kevin Sullivan and Dan Spivey in 6 minutes to end the pay-per-view, and Missy Hyatt was their manager, and that match should have not ended the pay-per-view. It was not a main event. So that's the end of Wrestle War 89. Was not a good show. I mean, the only reason to watch Wrestle War 89 is Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat. That's the only match that's worth watching. Next, talk about Clash of the Champions from July 14th. It was held in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So basically it was held in the South again, because that's where they drew the most people, was in the South. And you had some semifinals of a tag team tournament was on the Clash of Champions 7. First match, you had the Fabulous Freebirds, Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin, defeat the Dynamic Dudes, so they go on to the finals of the tag team tournament. Then you had the Midnight Express defeat the Samoan SWAT team, so the Midnight Express goes on to the finals to face the Freebirds. And then in the finals, the Freebirds defeated the Midnight Express to win the tag team titles. And what I remember about this Clash of Champions, the crowd was really into it. It was a great crowd. They were rowdy and they were loud, and they seemed just really into the entire show and a lot of the matches. The crowd was great. Clash of Champions 7 in July 89. If you want to check it out, it's on the WWE Network. Up next, you had, after the Freebirds won the tag titles, you had Paulie Dangerously and Terry Gordy interfered in that match. Up next, this was really god-awful, one of the stupidest characters. They weren't even characters. I don't know what they were. They were a tag team. And some dumbass that was in control decided to call them the Ding Dongs. They wore masks and bright orange outfits and bright orange masks, and they had Christmas bells on their wrists and ankles, so they called them the Ding Dongs. Why? Somebody must have been on crack cocaine or on drugs to come up with that name. I believe Jim Herd was in control, and he didn't know shit. He didn't know a damn thing about pro wrestling. He shouldn't have been in control of WCW. The guy was running a Pizza Hut, and for some reason somebody decided to hire him to run WCW after he's running a Pizza Hut. And I'm sure he didn't know a damn thing about pro wrestling, so he was a real idiot to come up with the Ding Dongs. I believe Jim Herd did come up with the Ding Dongs. That's what I think of the Ding Dongs. They were a disgrace, a fucking mess. It was just a tragedy that the Ding Dongs were ever seen on videotape. They should have never, ever been on a Clash of Champions or a pay-per-view. I don't think they were on a pay-per-view ever, but I believe the Ding Dongs were on at least one or two Clash of Champions. I know they're on the July 89 Clash of Champions 7. The Ding Dongs defeat George South and Cougar J. Who the fuck is Cougar J? I don't have a fucking clue. And George South, I don't know who he is. Or Cougar J. I don't know who played the Ding Dongs. Whoever played them should be embarrassed that they ever played them. But I guess they needed money. Whoever played the Ding Dongs agreed because they just wanted to be in the wrestling business and get paid good money. So, but the Ding Dongs were so stupid and so god-awful and so bad. The Ding Dongs to me are worse than the Shockmaster and the Black Scorpion all put together. The Ding Dongs are the worst gimmicks, whatever they are, gimmicks, characters. The Ding Dongs are the worst ever in the history of the business, in my opinion. Ding Dongs were just, oh my god, they were just fucking shit. God-awful crap. Dumb, stupid. Ding Dongs, if Jim Herd did come up with them, he should have been fired immediately. Up next, you had, and that's a damn disgrace that the Jim Herd wasn't fired earlier, because he was still running WCW in 1991. The guy was still around, and that's a disgrace. He was still around when WCW went to Japan. I believe it was January 91. They had a WCW New Japan Pro Wrestling Super Show, Starrcade 91 in Japan. It was at the Tokyo Egg Dome, and Jim Herd was on that video. He was seen there, and I guess he was still running things. That's just a disgrace. And Dusty Rhodes came back. I believe they begged him to come back. He left WWF. But that was in 91, and I'll talk about 91 in the future videos. So, back to Clash of Champions 7. After the Ding Dongs fucking mess and nightmare of them, you had Norman the Lunatic, which was Bastion Booger, beat Mike Justice. That was a jobber. And that's shouldn't have been on a Clash of Champions, that match. Steiner Brothers defeat Kevin Sullivan and Mike Rotundo. That was a okay match. I think there was a lot of brawling in it. Rick Steiner on the outside brawling with Kevin Sullivan. Anyways, the Steiners defeat Kevin Sullivan and Mike Rotundo in that match. Up next, Sting, as he's still TV champ. Sting defeated Bill Irwin. So that was decent. And when Sting's music hit, he got a huge reaction, great pop. Fans loved Sting, the Stinger. Okay, talk about July, Saturday night's main event now. In July, Saturday night's main event, you had the Brain Busters take challenge Demolition for the tag team titles in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And the Brain Busters got the job done. They defeat Demolition for the tag team titles to win the titles, to bring the tag team titles home to the Bobby Heenan family. So Bobby Heenan had the Intercontinental Champion Rick Rude, and he had the new Tag Team Champions and the Brain Busters in his family. Up next, not up next, but Brain Busters win the tag titles on July 89 Saturday Night's Main Event. Check that out if you want to on the network. It's a really good 2 out of 3 falls, old school tag team title match for the WWF tag team titles. And when Demolition lost to the Brain Busters, they had the titles for maybe 15 months, 14 or 15 months. They had the tag team titles for it. They had a really long reign as tag champs, and it was well deserved. I'm a big Demolition fan, and they should go in the Hall of Fame soon. So, Brainbusters Demolition, July 89 main event. That match is worth checking out on the network if you have the network. Whatever came first. Well, Great American Bash came first before SummerSlam 89. So I'll talk about the Great American Bash 89 right now. Pay-per-view event. Here's, anybody cares to see, here's the box of the Great American Bash 1989. It's called Glory Days. It's from Baltimore. There's a back. Sting, Muta on it. And Flair, Luger, Terry Funk on the front. Steamboat. It's a picture from Wrestle War 89. Anyways, this is the Great American Bash 89. And the DVD will not come out, but there it is. I have it on DVD. First match. Let me find the page. First match of the Great American Bash 89, you had a 2-ring King of the Ring Battle Royal. And these are, a lot of guys are in this Battle Royal. And the match was not good at all. You had, I believe Flying Brian was in it, Ron Simmons, Scott Hall, Sid Vicious, Dan Spivey, the Skyscrapers. I don't know who else was in it. But Sid Vicious won in Ring 1 when he last eliminated Brian Pillman. And then Dan Spivey won in Ring 2 when he eliminated Steve Williams. And then Vicious and Spivey split the $50,000 prize, and they both eliminated themselves and jumped off the ring apron to the floor. So the Skyscrapers win the King of the... I don't know why it was called King of the Ring. I thought it was called King of the Mountain. Read what it says on this Great American Bash box. King of the Hill. King of the Hill double ring battle royal. So whatever. King of the Hill match. Skyscrapers split the win. Up next, in a tuxedo street fight, Jim Cornette defeated Paulie dangerously in 6 minutes, 22 seconds. And that was not a wrestling match. It was pretty lame and boring. Up next, you had the Steiner brothers defeat Mike Rotundo and Kevin Sullivan in 4 minutes. That's very short, I guess, because they had a lot of other matches on the show. A very good match. Up next, TV titles on the line. Sting was the television champion, defending against the Great Muta. and they wrestled to a no contest and it was only 8 minutes and 40 seconds long. And because they wrestled to no contest, it says the title later was held up. When it was ruled, both wrestlers' shoulders were down, or were up. Both wrestlers' shoulders were up. So I guess, I don't know what they did. They must have had a tournament to crown a new TV champ. And the title was held up, and in September, the Great Muta won the TV title. Up next, you had a U.S. title match. Lex Luger was the U.S. champ, defeating Ricky Steamboat in 10 minutes by disqualification. For going only 10 minutes long, it was an entertaining U.S. title match. Lex Luger was not a great worker, but Ricky Steamboat was, and he pulled out a good match in Lex Luger. And you had a War Games match. Up next, 2 rings, the steel cage over both rings. First team, you had the Road Warriors, Midnight Express, and Steve Williams. It's Dr. Death, Steve Williams, on the team against the Samoan SWAT team and the Freebirds. And Road Warrior Hawk made Jimmy Garvin submit. And it lasted 22 minutes, 18 seconds. Did that War Games match. That's how long it lasted. Wasn't the best War Games match I've seen. 87 was much better. The first War Games match was better. 91 was better. 92 was better. Even 96, when it was NWO against the Horsemen, that was better. And 97, 98 was also better. 89 was not a good War Games match. It was okay because the Road Warriors were in it, but it wasn't that good. Main event, the world champion Ric Flair defeated Terry Funk at 17 minutes and 23 seconds. In the pay-per-view before, Terry Funk attacked Ric Flair and basically power drove him on a table and looked like he injured Flair's neck for real. And Terry Funk was he was a crazy man. He was a hardcore wrestler back in '89. And he could have really injured Ric Flair. Could have ended Flair's career by power driving him on that table. I guess he did it for shock value to get the fans upset or whatever. It worked. Anyways, Flair and Funk, they had a brawl. It was a brawl type match. They basically brawled on the outside of the ring, and Flair won. Then the Great Muta came out, attacked Ric Flair. They were double teaming Ric Flair, and then Sting came out and saved Ric Flair, and then the show ended. So, best thing about Great American Bash '89 was Sting, Muta, Flair, Funk, and the War Games match was good. Not the War Games. Sting and Muta, Flair and Funk were the best matches, and the War Games match was okay, and Luger and Steamboat was good too. So those 4 matches are worth watching if you have the network. Up next, I'm going to talk about SummerSlam '89 pay-per-view. Here's the box of the DVD for SummerSlam 89. I own it on DVD. Here it is. Anyways, there's the box for Feel the Heat SummerSlam 89. There weren't many good matches at all on SummerSlam 89. The best matches were the first match between the Brainbusters and Hart Foundation. It was a tag match, and it went 16 minutes, 23 seconds, and it was a good tag match. And the other best match on the show was Rick Rude against Ultimate Warrior. The rest of the show was pretty boring. So the first match, you had Brainbusters defeat Hart Foundation. And then Dusty Rhodes, his first pay-per-view in the WWF. He worked in the NWA for years. Came to the WWF. He was the Common Man. They shot a whole bunch of videos where they were calling him the Common Man. And they showed him working as a plumber, and as a garbage man, and as a pizza man. So I guess that's why they called him the Common Man. So Dusty Rhodes defeated Honky Tonk Man in 9 minutes. And that was Dusty Rhodes' first pay-per-view. They had Dusty Rhodes wearing polka dots, and polka dot knee pads, and polka dot wrestling tights. I don't know why. It was really stupid gimmick to put polka dots on Dusty Rhodes. He should have just been the American Dream and had his black wrestling trunks, but they had to put yellow polka dots on him to look like an idiot. And I'm sure Vince was ribbing Dusty Rhodes by making him wear that. I'm sure it was a joke and a rib. After Dusty beat Honky Tonk Man, you had Kurt Hennig defeat Terry Taylor in 3 minutes, 21 seconds. And I'm sure Terry Taylor was still the Red Rooster, and that was a god-awful gimmick. The Rougeau brothers and Rick Martel defeated the Rockers and Tito Santana in 14 minutes. The Ultimate Warrior, he was the Intercontinental... No, he was not the Intercontinental Champion, but he would become the Intercontinental Champion in this match at SummerSlam 89. Ultimate Warrior was challenging Rick Rude, the Intercontinental Champ. And Warrior won the Intercontinental title in 16 minutes after Roddy Piper came down to the ring, basically lifted his skirt up and mooned Rick Rude, or flashed Rick Rude. And Rude was pissed. He was really angry that Roddy Piper did that. So Piper distracts Rick Rude. Warrior grabs him from the back, like German suplex into a pin. 1, 2, 3. Ultimate Warrior wins. The crowd goes crazy. They love the Warrior, and he got the Intercontinental title back. A real shame that Rick Rude had a real short run as Intercontinental Champion. Rick Rude was only champion from WrestleMania 5 to SummerSlam 89. That's only a couple months. Rick Rude would have been a great Intercontinental Champion if he would have been able to hold it longer. But they went back with the Warrior to put him over. And they're probably thinking, we got to give the Warrior the Intercontinental title because he's going to challenge Hogan at the next WrestleMania in 1990, WrestleMania 6. Up next, you had Demolition team up with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and they defeated Andre the Giant and the Twin Towers, Akeem and the Big Boss Man. That was a fun six-man tag to watch. Andre didn't do much. He couldn't do much. He kept sitting on guys. He would just sit on them and go like this, go up and down, and sit and basically slam his ass down under them and crush them. So Andre couldn't do much, but he was a special attraction, so he was still around, and they still used him on the big 4 pay-per-views. But Demolition and Hacksaw get the victory in that six-man tag. And that was the second six-man tag of SummerSlam 89. Pretty odd to have 2 six-man tag matches on one pay-per-view. You don't see that anymore nowadays. Up next, you had Hercules defeat Greg Valentine in 3 minutes. And I believe rugged Ronnie Garvin was the referee in the match. For some reason, they had him stop wrestling, and Ronnie Garvin became a referee. Why? I don't remember why. Maybe he got suspended. They did a suspended storyline or something, and they had him be a special referee. I thought it was stupid. Ronnie Garvin is a badass, and he wrestled like a badass. He shouldn't have been a ref. That was a stupid idea. But I think, he was a ring announcer. I think he was the special ring announcer. Or he was a special referee. I don't remember. But he basically put down Jimmy Hart and Greg Valentine on the microphone. Or he was a guest referee, and he got pissed off and he knocked out Greg Valentine. And then he screwed him in the match. So Hercules defeats Greg Valentine in 3 minutes. Pointless match to put on SummerSlam. Ted DiBiase defeated Jimmy Snuka in 6 minutes. And it was boring. And the main event was Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake defeat Randy Savage, the Macho Man, and Zeus in 15 minutes. It was a pretty damn boring tag match. Savage did some great stuff in it because he was a great talent and great worker. But Brutus and Hogan, I didn't like them as a team. I never liked Hogan when he teamed up with Brutus. They did not work good as a team. I didn't like that team. I believe they called them the Mega Maniacs, or at least WrestleMania 9, they were called the Mega Maniacs when they went up against Money Incorporated. So you had Hogan face off against, on the other side in a tag match, Zeus. And Zeus basically was there at SummerSlam 89, I guess, because Hogan and Vince thought they could make Zeus a top heel and a top star. I guess because of the movie No Holds Barred just came out before SummerSlam. So WWF thought they could make Zeus a star in the company, and it did not work. In the movie like No Holds Barred, in that movie, having Zeus in it as a character, I got no problem with that. That was fine. Zeus looked like a badass. He looked really tough, like a badass, like he could beat anyone's ass in that movie. But that was a movie. And it was just a movie. Whatever. WWF, WWE is like a movie too. It's fiction, it's made up stories. So I guess WWF thought people will believe Zeus is a badass, and they'll buy tickets to see Zeus against Hogan and whatever other crap. On a Coliseum video release, I believe is after SummerSlam 89, it was Super Tape. It was called Super Tape. I believe it was Super Tape Volume 2. or maybe volume 1, and it was super tape. Anyways, you had Hogan and Brutus again team up and take on Macho Man and Zeus in a cage. I think is a match from Madison Square Garden. I don't remember, but I do know that that match, tag team cage match, was on a super tape, either volume 1 or volume 2, when they used to release all their videos through Coliseum Home Video. And I have super tape 1 or 2. I don't know which one it is. It's either volume 1 or volume 2. You can look it up on the internet. Super WWF Super Tape volume 1 or 2 to find that tag team cage match, if you want to check it out, if it's online to watch on YouTube or something. So that was SummerSlam 89, and my next video, part 3, I will talk about Clash of Champions 8 and Clash of Champions 9. Then I'll talk about Survivor Series 89 and Starrcade 89. And this was part 2 of the Year in Wrestling 1989. Hope you enjoyed it. If anybody watched, thanks for watching. And bye for now, everybody.